Coming up on River City Presents is singer-songwriter guitarist from Murray, Tim Peyton. Welcome to River City Presents. I'm Daniel Hurt. My guest today is Tim Peyton. He is a legend in the music community in Western Kentucky and is the co-owner of Terrapin Station in Murray, one of the only independent record stores in the region. He has a music project called Secular Pets. He's going to be playing some songs from his upcoming album, and joining us now to play some music, ladies and gentlemen, is Tim Peyton.
Hey, my name is Tim Peyton. I am from Murray, Kentucky. I'm going to play a few songs from a project I have called Secular Pets. I think it's called Ezekiel. I'm not sure. We'll call it Ezekiel for today. And we cannot wait. History floats neath the lessons on a post that creep to negotiate. Angels are a wheel of eyes. The Bible tells me so. Passing notes to the stone stuck in your throat that weighs every word you taste. Shush the bone fossilized by the unknown and pray the truth to waste. Angels are a wheel of eyes. The Bible tells me so. Ezekiel, I've dreamt your mind. All four faces know. Always known me, always known you, always known you, always known. This next song is called Waker's Dozen. Here we go. Here goes nothing for the taking, spinning, invisibly shaking, near through the moment, faking now. It's a holographic answer asking to exist by chance, and when glance, now it's on. Lakers, doesn't end a sick dream, not by one that travels slick steam, ancient, future kept all pristine again. Trying to lie about what the front would be. Now won't you scratch it off the back of me?
We are back. Joining me on the show is music legend, the man, the myth, the legend, Tim Peyton. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Daniel. So, it's really good to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely, my friend. Yes, sir.
Yeah, before we really get going, I just want to say to you, like, thank you so much for doing this. Like, it's really important, and I love what you've done with this program, and it is really, stuff like this is really important for the community in general and the creative community in this region. So thank you, Daniel.
Yes, sir. And I will also thank you. It means the world to me that you're here. The team knows that ever since I've scheduled it, I've been like, Tim Peyton, Tim Peyton, Tim Peyton.
Oh, gosh.
And, you know, if it weren't for your platform and the work you do with Terrapin and the artists in this community, I wouldn't have my platform. So on behalf of all the musicians out here, thank you, sir.
Well.
Now that the thanks are out of the way, I want to welcome you to the show. And, you know, it's not too often we get the chance to see you play by yourself out here. So, you know, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's been a little bit. I guess I haven't, I've only really played solo like that, and I don't know, it's been, you're right, not that often.
Well, I saw you at one of Melanie's shows,
That's
and I
right.
was like, well, I've got to get you now that you're doing that. But so tell us a little about yourself and how you got into music, because I had the political bug about when I was 14 and new. So when did you know?
When did I know? So my earliest memories, I have my mother to thank for this, my dear mother, who is a wonderful, she's an amazing vocalist and a wonderful singer. Some of my earliest memories, actually pretty much my earliest memories, are her playing music for me and singing over the music. And then right around when I was maybe like 5 or 6 years old, she really got into theater, a lot of it musical theater.
Oh,
and
cool.
so yeah, and then I got so I was already loved music. I just have some other early memories of like running around the house, just like blasting, blasting.
What was it?
Usually it was actually, in particular, it was the Vanilla Ice song from one of the Ninja Turtle movies, like Ninja rap. Well, yeah.
I don't know that.
I got to give a shout out to that, but Yeah.
Did your mom play any instruments, or?
She didn't play any instruments, but really, I mean, her voice is so beautiful. Like that, I always just consider like that's her instrument. And so she got into, I was like 6 or 7 years old, and she got into musical theater, particularly at Playhouse in the Park in Murray, Kentucky,
yes,
which
absolutely.
I'm very fond of. And then shortly after, I got into it as well, theater and then musical theater.
You
and
did Playhouse in the Park?
I did. I sure
did not know that.
I sure did. That was really, in a lot of ways that, I mean, Playhouse in the Park, creatively, being involved with that as a kid, especially, musically, that, I mean, that's kind of like where a lot of my roots, I can trace so many things back to that. That was really, and as far as like performing and singing, that was where I got my start with that.
When did you pick up the guitar?
I picked up the guitar around 13 or 14 years old, and I did not know at all what I was doing. And in some ways, I still don't. And what I mean by that is like I realized that I knew I didn't want to. I learned just a few basic chords, and then I kind of felt early on, not that I'm not opposed to taking lessons. I just could feel, I was like, I think I'm going to get more enjoyment out of this if like I don't know the right way to do it.
Right.
And I'll go as far as I can with it, try to find some satisfaction in figuring out whatever sounds good to me. And so in a way, it kind of became like my own language to myself with the guitar.
Sure. It's kind of like, Mr. Holland's Opus, if you've ever seen that movie. The girl's trying to learn to play the clarinet, and she's like wanting to do well for the wrong reasons. And he's just like, he plays Kingsman Louie, and he's like, it's super simple. The goal is to have a good time. So you're,
Exactly.
as long as you're enjoying it, it doesn't particularly matter, what exactly is going on. But I get it. So you tell us today. You're playing some music. Tell us a little bit about this upcoming project.
Correct.
Secular Pets.
Yeah. So Secular Pets actually it goes back to around, I'm going to say maybe like 2008 or 2009 when the seeds for Secular Pets were planted. So I've grown up playing in a lot of bands, with a bunch of different bands with my friends, and I realized that I was always like, no matter what, like I never really wrote in a journal, but at night, I would usually before I went to bed, to clear my head or something, I would sit and, play guitar, make up stupid songs. And I eventually started just recording whatever I was doing, either with an old tape recorder, or sometimes I'd do it on my computer. And then when smartphones came along, I was always kind of documenting what, just like I was making up on the spot. And around 2008 or 9, I realized that I was like, hey, some of this stuff, I should build upon this, So that's how it got started. And then as I, 2010, when I started kind of in a more serious way, regularly playing shows with some of the bands I was in, which sounded nothing like the stuff I was recording at home. It was just kind of like...
it was like your side project thing that you worked on.
Correct. And I always would, it kind of helped, like I said, clear my brain and help balance me out. And then I would say around 2000, I became... good friends with S.G. Goodman, probably around 2008 or 9, and we just became fast friends. And I'd say around 2017 or so, she had heard me do some of this. So as far as live performances with Secular Pets stuff, a lot of times I would, if there was nothing else, we'd have touring bands coming through Terrapin, and if there was nothing else that I felt like was appropriate to match with this touring band, or if I just there was only one other band or project and we needed an extra, I would say, all right, well, I guess I'll just play, maybe I'll play a few songs. And
cool.
And so and I got a good response from those, and that's really how SG heard some of that for the first time.
Just coming to the Murray shows. And
coming to the Murray shows. And of course we would all, also we would, hang out and just share songs with each other in general. But around 2017 or so, she approached me. I think it was around 2017, maybe 2018, she approached me and said, hey, like, I want to, could we like make an album of that stuff, of your Secular Pets stuff? And she really came at it. I like the way she presented it because she's like, let's take our time with it, take as long as you want. Like I said, so that was 2017. So we stayed true to that. We took our time.
It's like do it right. Do it the way it's supposed to be.
Do it right. And she and then everybody, which we'll get into, who all was involved with the project, but everybody involved with the making of this album, the Secular Pets album, kind of all, we were on the same page.
And she's helped produce this too, right?
Correct. Yeah, she produced it. But yeah, she wanted to keep so a lot of the recordings, stuff I'd already recorded at home was, I guess, like lo-fi in spirit. And she's like, let's try to keep the lo-fi integrity, but take it to the studio. Let's take it to loud and clear.
Shelby Preckless, yes,
Shelby
indeed.
Preckless, absolutely, legend. And yeah, so we recorded a lot of that album at Loud and Clear.
Well, let me ask you this. First, we want to thank Shelby, of course, for all the work that he's done with this program, too. But I wanted to ask, so those were all side project songs that you've written. Are there themes to them that are noteworthy or anything specific that we should know?
Yeah, so I think when I listened back to them, a lot of them, like I said, I would just kind of it was like free form. I'd have to listen back to remember. It's like, what did I do? Because I was just kind of like, making it up on the spot. And I kind of realized as I listened back that some of those songs came from, and what I was singing and making up as I was playing, I was like, kind of sounds like I'm just trying to like calm myself down. and I think a lot of that, and I was also processing, just trying to process like hard things, traumatic things in my life, and
being busy all the time too, no doubt.
Sure. And it really, I'm glad that I recorded a lot of it, and so I could listen back and be like, wait a second, what was I?
And fix that or something.
Yeah, and try to connect the dots of like, is that what I was thinking about? And then so I think that at the core, Secular Pets is me trying to keep myself calm. And
well, it's great music though. You played some of it already.
Thank you.
I want to ask too. So you recorded it loud and clear. Who all is Secular Pets? Who we got?
So Secular Pets for this album, there have been many Secular Pets over time, but this album. So we have Matthew David Rowan, who is essentially pretty much the closest thing to like my creative, like he's one of my best friends, and we've grown up playing music together, and just such a talented person. And Matthew David Rowan, he plays he plays bass and some lead guitar parts and some piano, just whatever. He's got such a brilliant mind for especially in the studio. He'll listen to something
wherever you need it.
He's like fills in the puzzle pieces, like, wait a second, that goes there, let's try this. And then Stephen Montgomery, who you might know as S. Knox Montgomery, he plays drums, and he also does some keyboards and piano. And then our friend Kate Haldrip, who's a brilliant brilliant musician and an amazing engineer. She recorded a lot of it. She engineered it and also played on some. It's hard. I'm trying to remember. It's like, wait, everybody just kind of chipped in. It was kind of just like a group, which is exactly what I wanted. Was us getting together and just like
bunch of friends playing music.
Keeping it. It felt really natural and honest that way. She played some on it, and then of course SG, who produced it, and I think she provides backing vocals on a couple songs, and then we have one song on there on the album that's just a duet, which I gotta give credit to SG for bringing that song back to life. It was an old song that she heard around 2008 or 9, and she said, hey, if we do this, I want to let's do that song, like. Let's bring that one back to life. And then it just kind of worked out, and I was like, well, we kind of knew that we just kind of naturally, it's like, wait, let's like do a duet on this song. So it's a huge honor to have her, just involved at all. But the fact that she's like actually on it, it just means the world to me.
I sort of fought for you to do Time Powder today. It's my favorite song off the album.
Well, thank you. And so that one actually, Time Powder, that is the one song. So as we discussed, we recorded it at Loud and Clear, which Shelby graciously just allowed us to use the studio. But Kate Haldrup was engineering, most of it. But that was the one song. Kate went out to lunch, I think, for a moment, and Shelby was there, and that was the one song that he actually recorded. He was behind the boards for that song.
Oh, that's so
which
cool.
means a lot to me because Shelby's been such a huge part of. I've recorded with many projects, and I feel it's so good to say this because so many people in this region and in the community have feel the same way about him. But he's just so it meant a lot to have him involved with this project. So that song actually was.
I completely understand. He is above and beyond.
Absolutely.
Is there a timeline for this that we should look forward to?
Yeah. So it's been. I'm hoping before the end of the year should be out. We've got the test pressing. And
By the end of 2023.
I'm hoping so. End of 2023, hopefully, or early next year. Finally going to have it out. It's been a long time coming, and I'm really proud of it, and I'm just so thankful to the people involved that, and I appreciate their patience. It's taken a long time for come out, and that's my own, that's my own doing. So I appreciate the patience and also just the time and the love that everyone involved put into the project and the album.
And I want to ask you too. Your guitar style is really cool. You don't use a pick. You use your fingernails on this one.
Not for
acoustic.
For acoustic stuff. And that kind of comes from like I told you earlier, like I never really learned the right way to play, to finger pick essentially, or to play guitar in general. I just kind of like whatever sounds good, I'm gonna do that and just run with it. And I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, and this isn't the only music project you've obviously been in, as you say. So tell us a little bit about your history. Who all have you played with in the past?
Gosh. I guess first that comes to mind would be from around like 2009 or 10 until 2018. I was in a band, Quellbones, which took up a whole lot of my time. And we were like a, I don't know, at the core a punk band, but also just, we I don't know, we kind of had a wall of sound approach, and we were loud and sometimes sloppy, sometimes thoughtful. I guess trying
what a punk band is.
Exactly,
right?
and near the end of the project, I think, so also with that project, we do have an album. We recorded. Everything we recorded was at Loud and Clear, starting I think in 2010. We recorded a lot of stuff over the years with Shelby, and also with Alan, who helped out up there. But from 2016 until 2018, we worked on an album, and it's done, it's recorded. We hope to have it out. I hope, hopefully sometime soon, I hope. But
a date to be determined, yes,
Date
sir.
to be determined. We recorded an album in Candyland Studios in Dayton, Kentucky, and with Mike Montgomery, who's an amazing musician and producer, and also we had our friend Kelly Deal of The Breeders came and helped kind of produce it as well, and she's involved with it and does provided vocals for a track, and we're super proud of that.
My favorite Quellbones thing is Brian Rader. Our friend Brian Rader wears a Quellbones t-shirt.
The sweetest guy.
He has like 2 or 3 of them, and he wears them to. There's good luck shirts he wears to shows.
Yeah, that means the world to me. Honestly, I love Brian and all of, Leonard the band, and all he's
and Family Bags
and
now.
Family Bags. Oh my gosh, yeah.
With all Melanie, all of them together, man.
Yeah, and I didn't get to. I haven't seen them perform live yet, but I got to see some live videos on social media, and it was amazing.
Yeah, I shared a few of those. Yes, sir.
Wonderful.
Maybe they'll play Terrapin sometime soon down the road.
We would love to have that happen.
So another thing I want to talk to you about is Terrapin. So you're the co-owner now of Terrapin Station, which is the only independent record store in Western Kentucky that I know of.
I will. Yes, I am a co-owner.
But tell us a little bit of the background, your relationship with that, how it all started.
So I'll a little bit of just Terrapin history in 1985. So it's been open quite a while. 1985, Valerie Hancock opened Terrapin in her home,
Yeah,
which
in
she
a
still
house.
lives there. Yes, which she still lives there, and she has said that she had 20 people in her life telling her not to do this, that it's going to break you, it's not going to be worth it, and she just went with her gut and here and still going today.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty amazing. That's a testament.
Man, it's one of the most popular places, not just for music, but also for the music venue. Like, I know of a ton of people who say, boy, if I can play Terrapin, I feel like I've made it in the local music
gosh.
scene. I'm really pushing you today.
No. That really, like, that means I almost get like emotional,
I know, yeah.
trying to talk about it, because
Yeah.
that really means like the world. Like, I can't tell you how much that means to me. And
I can tell.
truly, that's very special to hear that, and that's just a testament to it's not just me. I've
Yeah.
definitely put a lot of time into it, but there've been so many people. Wouldn't have time. We go on for hours. I could just try to list everyone
Yeah.
that has done their part to make that place a special place, and for a lot of reasons. And I'm just so grateful for it, and
Yeah.
it means a lot to hear that.
Is there anybody who's worked there since the original opening or the early days?
So we had I'll give a shout out to my dear friend Tish. She was an original employee, and she still helps us out. She still
Yeah, I
helps us
saw
out
last week. Yeah.
Yeah, she still helps us out. But yeah, as far as just to quickly to get to
Yeah,
the
sure,
history
sure.
of Terrapin,
Yeah.
in 1992, Valerie moved it when her daughter was born. Cassidy moved the store to the location it's in now. And I think I was around maybe 1998 or 97, 98 was the first time I remember going up there, and I was like, "What is this place?" So I would have
Cool
been like 10
place,
years.
yeah.
I was like 10 years old, and then by the time I was like 13 or 14, I started riding my bike up there a lot, and I have a really strong memory of going up there on a Saturday. Gregory Simpson, who everyone lovingly
Barely
calls Cookie.
Blue, man.
Yeah. So it wasn't Barely Blue yet. Lunar Vacation, I think, is what the project was called. He was with a band called Lunar Vacation. But yeah, and seeing that on a Saturday, it was a Saturday afternoon in-store performance, and seeing Cookie in there, and like it really shaped my brain in the ways that I think about. I just didn't know. I'd only ever been to like stadiums, and like I didn't know you could just like you can just like play live music in a room and people sit in an intimate setting like this.
Yeah.
And it's good and it's amazing.
And really listen too. They're
And
not
really-
just on phones or something. They're
Correct.
like attentive.
Yeah, so that really was a special memory, and a memory I came back to later on when we started doing live music. I remembered, that memory came back to me.
So how did it work that you became co-owner of this?
So I
'Cause that's pretty cool to go from like
oh, gosh.
discovering the place,
Yeah.
working there for years, now you're
Right.
there.
Yeah, I around let's see. So I started working there when I was, I think, 15 years old, and that happened because I just kept coming in there, and multiple times a week I would go in there after school, and I would always talk to Valerie, who was there, and eventually, I kept like helping. I would like listen, and somebody would be looking for a CD. I'm like, oh, it's here. So I was already acting like I was like already
Working at
acting
the
like I was
store.
working there. And then Valerie was just like, it was almost, it was comical. She just one day, she's like, oh, hey, do you want to work here? And I was just like, yes, I'd love to. And so I never pictured myself, 20 years later, being there 20 years, but over time, I already knew it was special, and then just, especially when the live music started, it really gave me, a special drive and a sense of purpose in my life that I hadn't found before, and then also, just a sense of community that I had a hard time finding. My weird friends and I definitely had each other when we were teenagers, but doing the live music there, which we started doing at night around 2010 or so, really gave me a sense of purpose that I hadn't had, that I had not found.
And it was like
before.
weeknights too, right?
Yeah, well, we started doing it on the weekends, and also it was really, I definitely should mention that a crucial part of what the live music at Terrapin, what it grew into and what it still is.
Yeah.
Really, it was so important to meet some people from Paducah, musicians from Paducah, and so having a place, meeting, having people from Paducah come play, and then going to Paducah and playing. Definitely got to shout out Addison Milford, who's a very, very dear friend.
Addie, absolutely.
Yeah, and gosh, Ronnie, from Hi-Fi Ninja, and also, meeting around that same time too, the folks from Bon and the Mash, and so Nathan.
I was gonna say, and it's not just local artists. You've had people from Nashville and all over coming through too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it turned into eventually, just like it started out just on weekends. And then it got to the point where, sometimes we would do like 3 shows a week, because I was like, how can I say no to these awesome, I want to hear this awesome band, that wants to come play here. And and eventually, we've had bands at this point from, all over the world.
Talk about some of the bands that come through, because you've got a story I want to hear. I know there are some funny stories, but this one's just really interesting because Parquet Courts, who's a really famous band now, played at Terrapin, right?
So actually, I'm glad you brought this up.
Well, it wasn't at Terrapin exactly.
So it was going to be at Terrapin. Another person I definitely have to mention who helped build, a strong community there was my good friend Matt Parker, and he helped facilitate that show in particular. He helped set that up and with Parquet Courts, and they were scheduled to play at Terrapin, and the show before that, the week before, we had some technical issues. We had to work on. We had to get some stuff worked out up there, and did not feel comfortable having any live music until we got it worked out. So I'm like, oh gosh, like I really want, what do we do? And so at that point, thankfully, my good friend Jordan Ferguson, who also played drums,
the legendary Jordan Ferguson,
who played drums, and been friends since we were 7 or 8 years old, and then also, it was great to play with him in Quellbones. He played drums in Quellbones, and huge. He's a huge, really important part of the music community. The mansion, yeah. So his house for many years where he lived was, we dubbed it Tater Top Mansion. There's really no good reason why. It was
great though.
Because it just needed to be called Tater Top Mansion. That's the only reason.
It was a lot of fun. I had the privilege of going to one of those.
It was a whole lot of fun, but it was essentially so it was a den area and the kitchen, and we just moved the table, and so that's where Quellbones would practice, and we did some recording in there, and we started doing live music as well, and having bands come through, and so Parquet Courts. We had them play in that Tater Top Mansion because we couldn't do it at Terrapin. So it worked really well. And I think it was like a few days later is when they just, it was literally maybe 3 or 4 days later that they just blew up.
They were on television and all kinds of stuff too. Their press just exploded.
And they're great. They're really, really, really good people, really genuine people. So it was cool to get to know them.
And I think it's cool too that you have places that are available, like Jordan. On the occasion that something doesn't work, it's like everybody, we're just going over here now. And it was able to make that work.
Sure. Yeah. And that's what it's all about. Is everybody always like to say everybody does their part to make it work.
Yeah. So. And well, before we take off, I want to ask too, just because COVID. You guys are back doing live shows now.
Correct.
So if people want to come, there are events on Facebook and things they can look for?
We try, yes. Our Facebook page, I think if you just search Terrapin Station Murray or Terrapin Station of Murray, you'll find us. We also have an Instagram page. And
you have all kinds of different bands. Last week you had, this past weekend, you had Year of October and High Noon Moon.
Right, and Stray Nova.
And Stray Nova.
That went really well. Thank you for coming.
Yes, I've made them all since you've been back. I think just about. But
you have, and I just want to say again. I know I've already said it, but Yeah, I really appreciate what you do here, and also, you know, not just here, but you're at so many. You know, I see you everywhere, and I'm so happy. You know, you said that something about if somebody feels like if you've heard if somebody plays at Terrapin that they feel like they've made it in the music community. Well, I'll go as far as say if you see Daniel at your show, no matter where you are,
you've
made it.
I got the endorsement from Tim.
Absolutely.
That means the world to me, my friend. Well, we're going to let you get back to it and play some more music.
Sweet.
And but I really appreciate you coming.
Okay.
You're welcome back anytime, man.
Awesome.
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right, we're going to get back to it and have some more music from Tim Peyton.
All right, this next song is called Tissue for a Bookmark. At least that's what it's called today. Winter comes when you get to the bottom of autumn. Splinter down through the crystalline cold. That fought 'em, yeah, it fought back most the heat back when the heart had almost got 'em. Precious void teases the end just to wrap round, bend round all that echoes what we pray for when the heart stops to begin. Read my life, sad and dark. Gotta use a tissue for a bookmark. Refusal to refute the blues and greens. Don't forget to recruit everything between the simple catches and hidden message of what left the right to mean. Nice enough to shake the tree unseen, climbing through a dream of little egos linked and swirling, blink the source subconscious need. Seed my life, shifting spark. Gotta burn a tissue in the new dark. All right, this next one is called, I think it's called Charles Bonnet, and just a little context for this one. So I went down a Google rabbit hole maybe a year or so ago and learned about Charles Bonnet syndrome, which is when you're hallucinating visually and you're having vision problems, but there's nothing wrong with your brain. So it's like your eyes are hallucinating, but your brain is fine. It's kind of fascinating. Anyway, a song came out of it. Let's try it out. Hey Charles Bonnet, yes I'm on it, trying to see if this thing's haunted for sure. Hey Charles Bonnet, well doggone it, I am more or less astonished and bored. Should we keep it this way if we can see through the maze? All winding around the walker, no chiller, less hazy. The baton is a gavel, justice can't raise the slam down. Won't you please hallucinate me? Charles Bonnet, well doggone it, let's not hiss and miss the cats who need more. Hey Charles Bonnet, this platonic little reason can't imply to implore. Should we keep it this way if we can see through the maze? All winding around the walker, too ill to be crazy. The baton is a gavel that justice can't raise to slam down. Won't you please hallucinate me? Oh yes, I'm on it. Oh Charles Bonnet. Oh yes, I'm on it. Oh Charles Bonnet. Hey Charles Bonnet, mow the lawn, it's way too high to keep the neighbors low down. Hey Charles Bonnet, clear piranha, swim to nibble the invisible now. Should we keep it this way if we can see through the maze? All winding around the walker, too still to be lazy. The baton is a gavel that justice can't raise to slam down. Won't you please hallucinate me? All right, this one's called Time Powder. It's an instrumental.
was my guest Tim Peyton, singer-songwriter from Murray and co-owner of Terrapin Station. Hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks for watching. Hope we'll see you next time.